Hi everyone, welcome to Cow Corner Cricket Cast. I'm your host Pratham. I'm joined by my mate Rohan, and today we're going to be discussing the second day, of this really interestingly poised Test match at Trent Bridge between England and India. India started really well. Their openers played resolutely, they played patiently. They did survive a bunch of player misses, especially Rohit, but fair play, he stuck in for a while. And it looked to be going well. England's bowlers looked a little bit, I wouldn't say rattled, but they were bowling a little too wide of a length if they were being critical, honest and critical of themselves. And they seem to have recognized that. Came back, second session after lunch, bowled much more straighter at the stumps. And Rohit got out to an ill-advised pull shot, couldn't really control it, and then the collapse. After that Robinson wicket to Jimmy Anderson, who took 2 and 2, and then Rahane running himself out in like a headless chicken in a very suicidal fashion. And so at the end of the day's play, we had 125 for 4, and you've got to say even Stevens overall for both England and India.
India basically did what they had to do yesterday. As we said yesterday, to get themselves in the driver's seat in the first session. I don't necessarily mind the way that Rahul got out. He got out trying to put pressure on England and score some runs, and up to because he had gotten India the first 50 runs, right? And realistically, it's something of a difficult wicket. It's already showing two pace. It had a two pace nature on day one.
Yeah,
250 would be enough. Yeah. So getting a 250 score, that's enough, really. So if your opener gets you 20% of the way there, that's really all you need from him. So now he's just he did the responsible thing and tried to accelerate. Ideally, we would have liked him not to have gotten out.
I think
you're
he did.
An India fan.
I think he did fall for the bouncer ploy, but I will give credit here to the bowler. Robinson bowled excellent short ball. It's a ball that went literally above like eye height, so he was just outside of Rohit's eye line, which means that when he had to pull that, if he was going to go for the aggressive shot, he wouldn't be able to necessarily control it as well, especially because it was directed right at the center of his head, right? Just the line of the ball and everything was perfect. Again,
and I think a lot of credit needs to go to Robinson there, because Rohit Sharma is one of the best pullers and hookers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really hook, but pull, yes, he pulls pretty well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was an excellent short ball. It was a perfect short ball to Rohit Sharma, and a lot of credit needs to go there. And he instigated the collapse there, and then obviously Jimmy came in and did what he did.
Jimmy Anderson things.
Yeah. And
I think that's the best way you can put it. Clouds come in, Jimmy Anderson takes the ball, and we can start tumbling.
He's such a beautiful sight to watch with the when the ball swings.
When he's in full flow, with the Duke's ball on a cloudy day in England, there's not a more terrifying and amazing bowler to watch, because he extracts every little, if there's any movement that he can get, he will find it. That's what did in Pujara. Pujara has had a run of horrendous luck, stretching back the last 2 years.
He just keeps on getting jaffed, dude.
He doesn't it's like one of those things, right? Like he can't not get, he's so resolute defensively that the only way you can get him out is bowl an absolute peach and get him. And the thing is that every team that he's faced so far in this past 2 years has only done that. Think about it. New Zealand. He's faced New Zealand twice.
Yeah, got him.
Times.
Jameson necked him out.
And then,
Australia, Pat Cummins, Hazelwood.
Josh Hazelwood they plugged away.
Yeah,
he got 50s, but they got him out in the end.
It just feels sad. I feel sad. It's like the Mark Grant
in India, right? Like you get like Jimmy Anderson reverse swinging the ball, and it's like. You can't do anything.
I mean, he got some really good jaffas, admittedly, and he's been in that. It reminds me actually of this former English player, Mark Ramprakash, who you could swear every time he'd just get a jaffa, and you'd be like, how the hell?
How is this possible?
Yeah, but I will say Pujara is sort of bringing this on himself as well, just because his footwork is a little less assured, right? Even though he's getting out to good balls. right? A huge reason, yes, Pujara scores slowly, but a huge reason why he's been scoring so slowly of late, even uncharacteristically for him, is because he's just not. I think it's a back issue as well. His footwork is just not quite there. It's not confident.
I want to add in something on that. So on that note, Pujara scored again. People talk about Pujara's low strike rate, and that's true for the first 50 runs or so. After that, it doubles, and off pretty much every 50 runs beyond that.
Yeah.
But the reason Pujara, I think one of the reasons Pujara is struggling is Pujara is not a batsman who runs between the wickets very well. He's not like Kohli or Rohit or KL or Rahane, right? Where they'll just sprint to just dump the ball off and run.
Yeah, they'll convert ones into twos very often.
To twos and stuff like that, right? Pujara's problem is that he's not very fast. He's
no.
For a top level batsman, he's not particularly quick. What a lot of his run scoring is, and people forget this, is it's off fours. He hits a lot of fours.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that, especially after the Australia tour, teams realized, it's not just Kohli that we have to have a plan for, right?
Yeah.
It's not just Kohli that we have to focus on trying to get this guy out. It's like, this guy can just soak up pressure and just keep India in a match, even if Kohli fails, right? And that's, from a Test cricket perspective, that's actually much more dangerous to a team that's trying to win, because if you're trying to win, you need to get the guy out. Right?
Yeah,
it's like that old line about Dravid, right? Forget about Dravid, get the other 10 guys out. In this case, they were like, okay, they have Pujara and Kohli. Okay, now we have to get everyone in. That's hard to deal with to begin with, right? So you got those two coming in, and if you can get those two out, you have a chance.
Yeah,
those two guys.
Yeah, you're right about that.
They're hard to get out.
You're definitely right about that. They're paying much more attention and they're planning better to Pujara and in testing.
Like I remember during the just finished Australia series earlier this year. Australia just put men on the boundary every time Pujara got the strike. It didn't matter if they were trying to go for an attacking field; they'd always have men out on the square boundaries, especially and one man down just to make sure that he can't score. They're just going to put pressure on him and make him get himself out.
And it worked. It's a matter of concern. I said once the WTC final happened, this is the beginning of the end for Pujara, very likely, and it looks like that. But again, Jimmy bowled a really testing spell. I think what was so good about that spell, and what's been good about Jimmy in these particular types of conditions for the last 5 years, right, when the ball has been doing a bit with the Duke's ball, is the sort of patience he has accumulated. He didn't have it at the start of the career. And what do I mean by patience here? I mean specifically, he chooses to concentrate on one type of swing, the outswinger, for 5 or 6 deliveries or even multiple overs in a row, right? He'll bowl the same ball and then he'll bowl the in-swinger. I remember a time around, say, about 2013, 2014, and before that, Jimmy Anderson often struggled with that sort of virtue of knowing, okay, I'm not going to try to, constantly every over try to mix up in swing and outswing, right? And that matters because what happens is you throw yourself off your line and length, even if you think you don't and you have good control. Fundamentally, because of the way that you have to, those two deliveries are swinging and the way that you have to get certain people out, right? Like an in-swinger, for instance, can't be bowled at the same line often as an outswinger on middle stump, because if it's bowled there, then it goes on the pads, you hit it, right? And that's been really nice to see. Even the deliveries that he got Pujara out with, right? And Kohli with, yes, they were in-swingers that seemed away, but those came after tons of deliveries where he was bowling outswingers. And that's what set them up for that. We looked increasingly apprehensive because he's been technically being sort of exposed of late, where he's trying to play more and more for the in-swinger, right? And so that's what made that spell even more brilliant in my eyes, in that he made him uncomfortable. It was like, I'm going to wait. And then the natural variation took place, right? He did bowl the in-swinger, but unfortunately for Kohli, it seemed to win.
Yeah.
Nicked him. Brilliant.
I think again, it really shows how much of a good bowler Jimmy Anderson is and has been in his career. That was Kohli's wicket was the 619th wicket, so he moved level.
Oh yeah,
with
leveled with Kumble. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's not a bad list to be tied third on, right?
No, it's not. It's not.
Worley, Warren, Kumble, Anderson.
Yeah.
And he's the only one still out there, and he's probably going to play until the start of next year.
Yeah,
the Ashes.
I think he'll play for the Ashes. I don't know if he'll continue after that, just because I think Ashes series for most English and Australian players tends to be the beginning of the end. And for somebody like Jimmy, I mean, the body is working fine for now, but come on those Australian pitches, those hard surfaces, you bowl a long
100-degree days.
Yeah, it's not good for a lot of paces. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean,
congrats. Go ahead.
Changing the pitches and the change in the ball manufacturing has really helped, specifically bowlers like Jimmy Anderson, specifically bowlers that we as cricket fans appreciate as like test match bowlers.
We want to see the ball swing. I mean, like it was getting ridiculous in the late 2000s, where a lot of the pitches were just like flat 500 versus 500 matches. Not everyone, but a lot of them, and
some were 600 versus 900 matches.
That was a little bit earlier, but I get your point. But no, man, I agree, man. It's a great achievement for him. It shows his durability. You made a really good point with Ollie Robinson crediting Jimmy for mentoring him, right? And I think you can see some of the skills of Ollie Robinson's, right, from Jimmy in terms of this newfound bowling intelligence, right? Ollie Robinson as well can bowl to a plan, right? Like as I mentioned earlier on, they both realized they were bowling a little bit too wide and letting the batsman not play enough. They went back after lunch and bowled straight up, right? Ollie Robinson, another guy who I think is immensely gifted, probably the most gifted English seamer I've seen, just in terms of the complete package, right? Because he's not quick, but he gets an immense amount of bounce because he's very tall, 6'6" or something of that effect. He can swing it both ways, and he has this brilliant gift of bowling intelligence, which you can't give to every bowler. You have a lot of talented bowlers who don't know how to bowl to a plan, don't know how to bowl consistently, or don't have the intelligence to set up batsmen. And you set up Rohit, for instance, today, but also he's a huge reason why Pujara got out in the way that he did. People forget that. When Pujara came out of bat, there were a bunch of deliveries that were rising and fending, that were cutting back in, right? Sort of induckers, if you will, right? And that unsettled Pujara. He played one that batted off to short leg. In fact, it was looking very uncomfortable. It was fending on his ribs, and that's really important, because I think, like Stuart Broad, this guy's going to have magic spells because he has that inducker. He has the ability to get the ball to climb off a length, and he has that, and that in turn makes it that when he pitches out really full, and he goes into that kind of zone, and he bowls those magic, sharply veering induckers, he's gonna wreck batting lineups. He has to be a starter for the Ashes.
I mean, that says it all.
I feel more bad for KL on the other hand, because he played brilliantly. KL, I thought, technically, this was the best I saw him bat since he made his debut in Australia, when he was hailed as the next Dravid. And what was so impressive, right, Rohan, was his ability to play the ball incredibly late and not veer too much away from his body, right? Every drive, even the drives that you saw him play, right, his head was purely, intently looking at the delivery. His head position was precisely, it moved at the same time as his foot played, and it was brilliant to watch. It was played incredibly late, and played like an opener should in England. You can score runs here. He proved that. You just have to be sensible.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to bring this up. KL Rahul had a control percentage per ESPN Cricket Info of 79%. That's pretty good, especially on a cloudy day at Trent Bridge.
As an opener, mind you.
As an opener.
Yeah.
Against Jimmy Anderson, right?
Yeah,
it's not like he's up against a village 11. He's up against Jimmy Anderson.
Stuart Broad,
with a Duke's ball.
Ollie Robinson, a good attack.
Robinson, yeah, in cloudy conditions. Even Sam Curran was doing things. It's not much, but he was doing things.
Yeah, no, wonderful innings, and I hope he gets a century, man. if he gets a century here, I think it could kickstart his Test career, and he could be a genuinely world class opener.
Real testament to his hard work and work ethic, and as well as to the Indian domestic system. That he went back and put in the work. He said, okay, fine, I can't make it into the Test team. What do I have to do to get back in the Test team? Well, I have to go and fix my technique. I have to fix my temperament. I have to fix how I bat so I can get back into the Test team, so I can get back in the ODI team, so I can earn my way back into the team. And he's done that. And now he's reaping the rewards of playing first-class cricket, playing well in the IPL, playing well, and just being around the squad and being that guy who's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team. And really, this actually helps India in not just because he can bat, but what happens if, like, because we saw during the Gabba's test, Punt got injured during that test. He injured his hand. Saha had to come on and keep for a little bit. Because
you needed a reserve keeper, and Gale can do that. He's not a good keeper, but he can do it, right? So
yeah, and also more importantly, it lets you it makes sure that if Punt gets injured or if Punt is exhausted, he can take some time off, go off the field, get himself fixed up, and then come back.
Yeah,
and you have a keeper in the side, so you can bring in, say, a specialist in-close fielder or a guy that you can trust in like the slips or the gullies.
Yeah, it improves every facet of this Indian team to have that extra option. I do want to actually move on here and talk about predictions, right? So we know that the match is very evenly poised at this point, right? 125 for 4, England 183 in their first innings. It's really interesting because it just takes one collapse, and by one collapse with this Indian tail, we literally mean like 2 wickets. It would take 2 wickets to get into this and get, like, it would literally take like 25 or 30 runs to get them all up, right? Which would mean that they could potentially, England, if they bowl well here on the third day really well, they could knock over India before India even take the lead, which would be remarkable, especially given them start 97-run partnership and so forth. But what do you think? What are your predictions here?
I think India does get the lead. Rahul looks like he is in that mood. He's like, okay, I'm going to score a century. I'm not going to score just a century. I'm going to score a big century. I'm going to score 150, 200. He looks like he's in that sort of mindset. And I'm not going to get myself out. I'm going to bat the time, get down, and score runs. And if no one else is going to bat with me, I will bat alone.
And if he gets a daddy 100 here, right, he knocks the stuffing out of England, I think. I don't think the batting lineup that's inexperienced survives that. So I think it's crucial. My prediction, I think India will get to about 275, which is close to a 100-run lead, which I think would be enough. On that note, guys, we're going to be signing off. It's been great covering this match so far. It's been really well poised on the second day, as we've mentioned earlier, and I'm just looking forward to the third day, man, because we've been dying for a win. Yeah, Indian fans, we've been dying for a win in England.
It's been so long. It's been 2 matches since we last won a match.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're doing dying for a series win, man. Like,
it's been 1 match since we had a series win
in England.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, in England. But no, it's great, man. It's a great series shaping up so far, and yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.
See you guys.